Hello, everybody. It is our special day for the Summer of Live. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd. It is our last live in the month of July. It is flying by. I can't believe it. This month, we are focusing on beyond blogging. So we're wrapping up that topic today. And the beyond blogging theme was basically additional revenue streams and ventures that aren't connected to the nuts and bolts of running a website. So we're continuing and keeping up with our broken record status with our slogan, diversify your revenue streams. We can't help saying it. We're going to keep saying it. We would quilt it on a pillow if we could. Influencers are already skilled at sharing their expertise with an audience. You guys know that naturally. And there are ways to monetize that expertise beyond just your incredible website. So is anybody out there creating courses? I have two guests today that are experts in this revenue stream, each offering courses in multiple subjects. And I'm very, very happy to be speaking with them today. I'm going to introduce them now. Jessica Festa is with us. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. So I'm going to do some brags about you, some humble brags. Jessica is a New York native who ditched corporate America to become the founder of a solo female and offbeat travel blog called Jessie on a Journey, where she inspires readers to live their best life through travel and to take their trips #beyond the guidebook. She also offers custom trip planning, New York City photo tours, an online shop where she's curated a collection of travel gear, influencer marketing campaigns to brands with her network of travel influencers, along with her courses. Should have breathed more deeply before I started that. She's currently offering 8 courses on everything from making a profitable travel blog to affiliate marketing and working with brands. She's been featured on Photos, BuzzFeed, the BBC, just to name a few. Hi again, Jessie. That's quite a list of accomplishments.
Thank you.
And my other guest is the wonderful Hilary Erickson. Hi, Hilary.
Hey.
Just hang in, just chilling. We're glad you're here. I'm going to brag about you now. She has been a nurse since 1998 and an OB nurse since 2001, working in labor and delivery in both San Jose, California and Phoenix, Arizona, after stints in pediatrics, geriatrics, and hospice. She's a mom to 3 and a wife. She started her website Pulling Curls in 2005, so she's an OG blogger. There she writes about parenting, pregnancy, organization, and family travel. She's a frequent conference speaker, including at the Mediavine conference in Chicago last June. Little shout out there. And soon to be the host of her podcast, Pulling Curls, Parenting and Pregnancy Untangled.
Look at that. I have a t-shirt.
She's legit, y'all. There's a t-shirt. She offers online courses and ebooks in her multiple areas of expertise, from prenatal classes for couples to navigating the public school system and automating your housewife life to blogging for income. And she even has an ebook on course creation, which we will talk about more later. Hilary, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey.
All right, ladies. We're first of all, just to talking to all my people out there watching. Hello, everybody. If anybody has questions about course creation or anything else for these lovely ladies that I'm guesting with, Jessie or Hilary, please post them in the comments and we will make sure we get to you. But first, let's talk, ladies. First, we're talking about course creation all day today, multiple different levels of it, programs, the structure, how you do it, how you get started. But first, I want to talk a little bit about your backgrounds. How did you become experts in your topics? And what was your path from your educational life to creating your websites to then creating courses about these various topics that you cover? And we'll start with Jessie.
Sure. So I'll try to keep this brief. I went to college to actually get into nonprofit PR. Always thought I wanted to do that until I studied abroad. And that's when I really was sort of like bitten by the travel bug, as they say. Pretty much changed my whole life trajectory. I even got my master's degree and stayed at school extra just to not have to get that 9 to 5 and still feel like I could jet off for 3 months, a summer, a Christmas break, whatever it was, to travel without my, family freaking out. And then, because they did.
Wait, where did you study abroad first? What made
Sydney,
wow.
Australia. So I grew up traveling. I did like cruises and road trips around the US, but it was really my first time like getting on a plane by myself and going across the world. When I finally graduated, then it was sort of like, all right, I have this master's degree. People expect me to go work in Midtown Manhattan and make a lot of money or whatever. But I had never really heard of a blog. It was 2011. So it was a new thing, and especially in terms of like using it as a way to make money and as a business. But I did research and I stumbled upon these blogs that were normal people. They weren't celebrities, just like me. So I saw an opportunity, and I did have a short stint as a travel agent, but really I kind of went from college to blogging. Like I waitressed in between.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then from there, like I started as a solo female travel blog, but I started to have just so many people asking me about this whole blogging thing. It was really new. It was really exciting. So that's kind of where I was like, okay, there's an opportunity to create something here. And I think I was trying to remember when I created my first course. It was either 2013 or 2014.
Awesome. So you've been doing this for a while. And
yeah, and we'll talk more about this as we go on, but it's definitely, if you were able to look at the first course I ever created versus the now, it's very different.
I'm sure that's a lot of trial and error there. I'm sure that there wasn't, just like everything in the blogging world, there aren't a lot or weren't a ton of resources on how to do these things when it first began. Hilary, same question to you.
So I'd been a nurse. I taught prenatal classes, and that time frame didn't really work for our family. So I stopped teaching prenatal classes, but I really enjoyed it. And my blog was going this whole time, and I just thought, let's just start a prenatal class online. So I initially launched it as a book. And then like a year later, I took it to a course, and then I brought it to Teachable like a year after that. So
awesome. Okay. Yeah. So both of you have very kind of diverse areas of expertise and wide areas of expertise, from nursing to travel to, you had your degree in PR, you said, and you wanted to do PR for nonprofits. So how did you narrow in on those course topics? How did you know people would buy these courses that you're offering?
Yeah, so for me, like with all of the products that I create, it's just listening to my audience. I actually have a spreadsheet where I keep track of like the emails, the comments, the DMs, like what people are asking me. And then I'll start to see like, okay, working with brands, that is something people ask me about all the time. Affiliate marketing, starting a tour company. So I'll just create products around that. And then like I lead tours too. And it was the same thing. I had so many people asking me to show them around New York. It's like, I gotta get licensed as a guide and turn this into something. So yeah, for me, it was really listening to my audience and really keeping track and organized of what people were asking.
I love that. I love a spreadsheet of wishes. That's nice.
Yeah.
And same to you, Hilary.
So for me, I had taught a prenatal class. That was the area that I felt like I was the most expert in, which is probably true. I have degrees that say. So that was just natural. And then for my second course, I have a home organization course, and I had done a survey, and that was the thing that came out on top. People wanted to learn about home organization. So
where did you, what made you decide to do the survey, and did you use a Google form, or was it something else that you used to create that?
I used a Google form. I think my first survey I may have done like SurveyMonkey, but you can only get 100 that way. So I did a Google form, and I just pushed it to my email list like every time I sent out an email for a month, just reminding people to jump in there and take the survey. And yeah, I think I'd heard to take a survey. I've read that Ask book. I don't remember who it's by, but it just seemed smart. And I got a lot of good information off the survey. It wasn't just about like course creation. It was like how old they are, like how many kids they have, blah, blah, blah.
And what made you decide to do that? Was it because you knew you wanted to create more courses, or was it you just wanted information about your demographics, your audience?
Both, probably, because I already had the prenatal class probably by the time I was doing that. So I was probably looking for more information on who they were and what they wanted.
And that, I'm sure, directs your blog writing, the posts you write, all of those things.
Yeah. Although I haven't found for the most part that it's 100% true, because just because something was popular in there doesn't mean that it's going to be a raving post for me. So you have to take it. I had done a survey every year since about 2015. And then last fall, I did not do a survey because I was like, I'm not sure how useful it is at this point after all the ones that I've gotten before.
So is surveying your audience something you'd recommend to do for all website owners, regardless of whether they want to create a course or not? Is that something you'd recommend? Jesse, what do you think?
I probably think it is. I've honestly never done it myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get your feedback from people? Was it just random comments where they freely offered, or did you ask specific questions?
It really is just like, I just kept seeing the same questions over and over. So I kind of just had a really good feeling that it would be something people would purchase. And it wasn't just like 2 questions. It was like very regular of the same questions. Like even starting, because I always did blogging courses, and then I just have so many people asking me how to start a tour company. So now I have a course on that just because it was overwhelming how many people. So to me, it's almost like, I guess that was sort of a survey without doing a survey.
Yeah,
I was getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, it sounds you guys have very similar processes on how these came about. Hilary, do you have specific questions that you found to be particularly successful when you ask surveys? If you were to recommend that to anyone?
I mean, I asked the price point that they wanted courses at, if they wanted a course versus an ebook. I asked, but I will say that initially when you send your survey, it was all old ladies. So I was like, it's the 70-year-olds. And I just think it takes a while for the younger people to get around to answering the survey. So as the month went on, my demographics landed back to where I thought it was. But you do have to, I do think older people are more likely to take the survey than my target demographic. So
I was going to say, like, prenatal for geriatrics is probably a very unique niche. I don't know what the demand would be for that, but yeah.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. So did you ever need to incentivize those surveys, or did you just kind of rely on people eventually to take them?
I didn't want to. I wanted just genuine feelings. That would be more important to me than numbers. So I didn't incentivize.
Excellent. Did you have a certain number in your mind about when you'd had enough feedback? Was there a place where you were finally, or when you said, now I know this is it, I'm moving on?
No, I'm never happy like that.
Okay, good. Me neither. So I'm glad that there are other people who are never satisfied, as the song from Hamilton goes. So yes, excellent. So you have your topic. Where did you learn to actually put together the nuts and bolts of your course? Did you learn structure and formatting from somewhere? Did you take a course on creating courses? What about course creation software? Do you have particular favorites?
So for me, I just
go ahead.
So for me, I launched it on my site initially using Lifter LMS, which I probably wouldn't recommend, but it was cheap, and I was mostly concerned that it wasn't going to fly, and so I didn't want to invest a whole lot into it. This was like 2015 probably, and so it would break my site. Like when I would fix something on that, it would break my front end. So the two just didn't mesh well, or I would end up with ads in the course, which I didn't want, stuff like that. So for me, then I moved to Teachable. And as far as writing the course, though, I mean, I just wrote it like I would write a nursing paper, probably. I wrote out my outline, fleshed it out, or a blog post. I mean, as a blogger, you're a writer. And so the majority is writing, and then I have key points in a video that I added later on when I moved, like a little bit later. But because it was a book to start with, I wrote it as a book, and then it slowly has grown into what it is now.
Excellent. Jessie, same question to you.
So similar, mine was back in the day, I think, like I said, 2013 or 14. I just actually put videos on YouTube, but made them hidden and embedded them on my site. I mean, it was like a page with videos. It was nothing to look at, but the information was good. People did buy it. And same as Hilary said, I was worried that like, people say they want this, but will they really buy it? Didn't want to spend a ton of money. And then over the years, like every year I revamp the courses and it just gets better. And same, I use Teachable and love them. I usually work backwards. So if I'm like one of my classes is on affiliate marketing. So I'm like, okay, the end result is this. What milestones do they need to reach? Okay, that's like the module. And then what like mini milestones within that do they need to reach? And then I'll have that. That's sort of the outline. And then I think, okay, what assets could I put in there to really help them make this happen? So workbooks. I always include workbooks, or like in the affiliate marketing class, I have a list of high paying affiliate programs, because it's like, okay, that's going to be really helpful. I know people are going to want to know, okay, and now I know how to do affiliate marketing, but where do I find these affiliate programs?
Sure.
So I just try to think of like, what resources would just really make this be able to happen for them.
Excellent. And we just had, we had someone ask in the group, Amy Pelsner asked in the Mediavine Facebook group, which if you are a Mediavine member and you are not a Mediavine publisher and not a member of our Facebook group, you definitely want to be one. So email into publishers@mediavine.com if you are not a member, because there's tons of resources in there. I love that group. I read it and learn every day. So you guys both recommend Teachable, but we had other people who said MailChimp, WordPress tips and tricks plugin. We had Podia, Kajabi, Sensi, CourseCraft. Have you tried any of these other ones, or did you just arrive at Teachable and love it?
MailChimp? I feel like their email marketing, I didn't even know you could host a course on there. I mean, I've tried Thinkific. I think they're also really good. Teachable is definitely more attractive. Okay. Teachable really has, I feel like I work for them, but Teachable really, I think, has every single thing you could want if you're creating a course. So yeah, I haven't really tried anything else besides Thinkific. And the reason I switched from there was that I just thought Teachable was like prettier, a little more user-friendly. They have a few more features that I think are beneficial.
Hilary, how about you?
So I went with Teachable because it's pretty. And I think that matters.
It is really pretty.
Pregnant women. But I have looked into CourseCraft. I have friends who are on there. And I really think Thinkific and Teachable are really, really similar. Just a little bit prettier on the Teachable end. And also, I have a friend who's on Thinkific, and it seems like they won't automate as much for her because I now have Teachable paying my affiliates, and I don't think hers will do that. And they pay me, and like I don't have a VA, and so I a lot of times will use stuff like that to be my VA. So I just think Teachable can make it a little more automated for you if that's what you want.
We love automation. We love things that do that.
Oh, and Kajabi's expensive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can ask about price points. Are Teachable and Thinkific similar price points, or?
Yeah.
And did you guys wait to sell a certain number of courses or realize that this was a viable income revenue stream before you bought into Teachable? Is it a monthly subscription, or what made you guys decide to really double down on your course creation?
They both actually have a free option. I just didn't realize that when I started. I had never heard of them. Otherwise, I definitely would have done that. You just get less. Like I'm on like the pro plan, I think now, and I've slowly like went from free to basic to, okay, now I want more features and I'm making enough money to like justify that.
Yeah. So I tried the monthly just to try it out.
Yeah.
Once I was selling it, you definitely want to start with a free because there's no reason to do the free until you're selling. And then I upgraded I paid the whole year just because it's cheaper. I think it's $900 for the year. Don't quote me.
Yeah. I think it's like $9.99.
I thought they gave me money back because they said they had lowered it.
I love it when people do that. They get points immediately for doing that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So how much of part of your business is your course creation in terms of your percentage of revenue? Is it something, you don't have to give me exact percentage, but how big a role does this play in your overall business?
For me, it's pretty big. Like it used to be more working with brands. I still work with brands every month, but like as my community has grown, I just, first of all, really enjoy creating courses because I feel like it's a way to help people while also making money. And then it's like the more I make, the more I can offer. So I feel like it's like a nice way to make money too. But yeah, I've definitely focused more of my time on my courses and my tours. Because yeah, I feel, and then affiliate marketing is good too. But yeah, for me, it's definitely the largest percentage of all the ways I monetize.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hilary, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm just looking up on my spreadsheet. Courses are 47%, ads are 31%, affiliate marketing is 14%, and sponsor posts is 7% for me. So
that's super exciting.
But I mean, I update one course every year. It's like my big vision. So, once that course is done, then it just kind of runs itself. So there is a bulk of work to do at the beginning, but once it's done, it's set up. So that's awesome.
And you guys have perfectly segued into my next question. I love what happens, rock stars. So talk to us about the time investment of creating a course and how intensive is that? How much of the time are you having to divert from because I would assume that when you were starting, you were probably making the majority of your income from ads or from affiliate marketing or for something else that you were having to create content in order to keep going. So how much time are you having to divert and devote to creating the course?
For me, the first course, well, because it was a book, but it still took me a really long time because I wanted it to be professional and, like read like I was so smart.
Not aware, things like that.
I will say that my third course, that was more for moms, and like it didn't take as long. And the price point reflects that, because my prenatal class is 100 and the one for moms right now is like 40 or something like that. So, you know, I would say, like, if you're looking for a number of hours, it depends on how long it's going to be. So, I mean, it is just kind of like writing extended blog posts. So it depends on how fast of a writer you are for that, and depending on your topic. I don't know.
Jesse, how about you?
So yeah, I have all it's so all over the place. I have 2 standard courses that are like, you know, multi-module kind of courses. Those I would say like 1 to 3 months, just depending, like from ideation to beta testing and all that. But I've also noticed a few areas where people really wanted to go in depth. So I've created master classes that is like 2 hours of video, resources, a workbook, a little bit of a lower price point. And those I all created in less than a week. And then I have a membership, and that's like every month I'm creating content. I usually do 3 months. So I'm giving myself a little leeway. So I have the next 3 months created and in there. But I think it's just really helpful. Like when I'm like, okay, I'm going to launch a course, I map that out in my planner. It's like, okay, January, I'm going to do less blog content because this is going to be my big goal for the month. And this is like what I need to do to get that done.
Sure.
So I am kind of putting other things to the side. And then it's like, okay, maybe next month I'll do an extra blog post, or, you know, I like to like plan a big goal for each month and then have like little sprints of how to get there.
I love that. I love how organized you both are. That's great. So you said a couple of things. You said module and you said beta testing. So let's talk a little bit about the process of how you actually do create these courses and the steps you take and things you might recommend to other people to do while they're course creating.
Yeah. So I kind of said this before, but I like to work backwards. So I'm like, okay,
Sure.
This is the big transformation. And I think it's helpful to remember that like people aren't paying for more videos or more text. They're paying for the transformation. So if you can create a 2-hour masterclass that's going to get them to where they want to be, then I think that's really valuable. So I just think like, okay, this is what the end results I want for these people is. And then, you know, the milestones. So I think of the milestones as the modules. And then what are, you know, the takeaways within those modules that they need to reach to get there. In terms of beta testing, I usually do beta testing just to get testimonials too and feedback. Like, you know, you want to make the course as good as possible. But it's really helpful for testimonials. Personally, I would never buy a course that didn't have testimonials. When I had my membership, though, that's a little trickier because it's hard to beta test a membership course. So what I did for that was I offered a discount price for the first month for people to test it out and then, you know, pay the full price to stay a member. And I used testimonials from my other courses just to say, you know, it's a brand new product. So I don't have testimonials yet, but here are some from my other courses so you can see my teaching style and you know, that I'm not lying about my expertise or anything like that. Yeah.
Hilary, same question to you. How do you go about creating a course, kind of nuts and bolts? What steps do you take? Things like that. And just a reminder, everybody, if you've got questions out there, if you're creating courses, whatever stage of the process you're in, if you're from idea, you don't have any idea about creating a course, or you're in the middle of it and you have a very specific problem, go ahead and address the questions to us. And so Hilary, talk to us about how you go about creating courses.
So like I said, I had already taught prenatal classes, so I already kind of basic idea of what chapters go where. And instead of like an end goal for that class, it's just like teaching like a class. So that one was a little bit easier. And then as far as beta testing, the prenatal class kind of rolled out so slowly. It was easy to kind of have testimonials of people who'd previously taken it or whatever. I think I gave it to a few blogging friends in the very beginning though. But for my most recent launch, I just sent out an email to the list that was targeted to what that class is for. And I said the first 10 who write me back and are committed to sending me a review can do it. And I got like 30 emails like immediately. And so I just picked the first 10 and I had them commit to giving me a review. And then 5 of those people actually did give me a review, and that's what I used.
That's really, so Sherry Smotherman Short asked, do you give folks the product for free to beta test or just a reduced price?
I gave it free because I wanted them to be committed to do it. And I hounded them for the review, and I edited the review with them so that it didn't read like, sort of, or, So I want to give them something for their work.
I do it for free, and then I phrase it so it's like, if you don't want to leave a testimonial, then you have to give me feedback of like why you wouldn't. I've never luckily had anyone do that, but and then if they're up for it, I have gotten some people that do a video testimonial, which is like ideal, awesome. Where I'll do like a Zoom call with them. But yeah, so in order to, because like Hilary was saying, sometimes the testimonials read a little funny. I'll give them sort of guiding questions of like, you don't have to answer all these, but these are some points you might want to discuss in your testimonial.
Right.
That is very helpful. So what are your thoughts on a guided course, say one that takes place in 4 weeks versus a go at your own pace type of course? What do you have a style that you traditionally keep to, or have you tried both? What are the pros and cons?
I run a guided course once a month. If they want to buy the deluxe version of my prenatal class, they can do it with me through email and a Facebook group. And then I also run a side one that is just whenever people want to take it. So for that one, I mean, one of my main goals is to educate people about childbirth. So I want them to be able to do that. You're only pregnant for 9 months. So True. Whenever in those 9 months that you want to take a class is fine with me. Come buy it. So, and my other ones, I just run evergreen. They're for moms. It's different if you like have, a big end output that's going to create you money or something like that. But I've just decided to just do self-guided.
Okay. Jessie.
And yeah, I prefer self-guided. I usually don't, most of my courses aren't open all the time. Some of them are, because I like to do launches. I find that that's really helpful and kind of like being better able to estimate my income. I do still teach with writers.com. I've been doing that forever. And they do a guided. I think the pro for that is the accountability, and also the that you could create like 20% at first and then get feedback and kind of like create the rest along the way with that feedback in mind.
Yeah.
But I do find that I get a little bit more of people dropping out or wanting to take it later because they get overwhelmed and they think they had more time, and then they're like, oh my gosh, my son is school and this and that and that. Whereas like with the self-guided, I rarely have people who email me for a refund or anything like that, because I think they aren't overwhelmed by that commitment.
Sure.
So that's just something that I've found with the pros and cons of both of those. But I think both can be beneficial. I prefer the do it your own pace kind of thing.
Yeah, and Morgan Smith McBride just asked, she said, do you do big launches or are your courses evergreen? And Jessie, you said something that I thought was interesting. You said all your courses aren't open all the time. So how do you open and close? So is that so you close them so you can launch again?
Yeah, so some of them are open all the time, but most of them I'll do launches just because like there really is a formula with launches, and once you kind of get the hang of it, you are able to say like, okay, like when I do this launch, it's going to work. And as you do it more and more, you kind of learn, like you can estimate your income a little bit more. Even with the ones that are evergreen, sometimes I'll do like, oh, this week I'm running a bonus. If you buy it, you get like this extra thing. It's not a real launch, but it is like a way to get people enticed and interested. I like launches too, because I don't always have to every month be like thinking of how I'm going to get people in the course. It's like, okay, and next month there's going to be this big launch. I'm going to plan for it. So I feel like even with organization, it helps me be a little bit more organized.
So talk a little bit about a launch. What goes into planning a launch? Are you offering incentives? Is it all marketing? Yeah,
so most of my marketing is via email. That's like with a lot of my launches, I might like post on Instagram once or Facebook, but really it's like getting people onto my email list, nurturing that list really well, and then I'll do 5 to 8 days of emails. And all my emails, it's not like, buy this. It's very storytelling. I try to add value in every email.
Okay.
Each email has a very specific purpose. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
It does. It does to some.
And I think it's important to warm up your audience. I'll say that too. If you don't email your list ever, and then you're like 8 days of emails, they're going to be really like, whoa. I email my list every single week. So they're used to hearing from me all the time. And I make sure to I think this is like Gary Vaynerchuk's strategy, but I use it. It's give, ask. So week 1, just free content. Week 2, free content. Week 3, free content. Week 4, I might put my course in front of them. I might ask them to buy an affiliate partner product. So I really try to make sure I'm giving more than I'm asking.
Okay, and Hilary, do you do launches, or how do you? We'll talk a little bit more about marketing here in a minute, but do you have anything to add on that point before we go on?
So when my courses are new, I did do a launch. So I did a big launch for my organized home. I had the free series going, and I did, I think, 5 days, and like 2 days in, they lost like a freebie if they didn't order by then, and it was wildly unsuccessful. So for my group, moms, I don't know, like it's just been a slow burn. It still sells well. And the launch sold pretty well, but I had, Amy Porterfield expectations and they were not met.
It can happen. It's good. It's good to have the honest side of both of those. So both of you have talked a lot about email in terms of your marketing efforts. And we talk all the time about email and how important it is and how it's the one thing that you own. And please, please, please invest in email. Just to give tips for yourself. And we know it's not the same for every audience and every demographic, but how do you incentivize your email?
Like how to get them into the list?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have printables, I have challenges. It depends on what it is. I offer the first chapter of my prenatal class for free so people can see if they like me, because I want it to be a good fit for them.
Sure.
There are so many doors to come into me. Yeah. So I offer all the different ways. I've done the Matt Mullen class, and I have some of his things set up. So it just depends on the course and what I'm offering, but all the ways.
All the different ways. Good. That's good. How about you, Jessie? Same. I have a lot of freebies, and I really try to think about okay, my course is for this person. What problems do they have? What freebies can I offer that will help them? If I'm creating a new blog post related to one of my course topics, I make sure that definitely has a freebie. And I just try to promote it everywhere. Facebook ads, in content, exit intent pop-ups. I do webinars. I do free challenges, like all of the things. And like Hilary was saying, I think it's important for people to be able to get to know your style and get to know what you do. And I think that's the benefit of like even things like this, like lives and webinars and challenges where they can even talk to you a little bit. So you're not just, words or text, you are a real person in front of them. I think that's also really valuable.
I love all of those different resources. We had, you mentioned Matt. We're talking about Matt Mullen, Hilary, so that he is Email Jumpstart. He did a live with us, so I would love it if we could share Matt's live with us.
Email on autopilot.
Email on autopilot, personalized pass. He does Email Jumpstart. Personalized pass is his website, and he did a wonderful live with us, a Teal Talk. Yeah, it was a Teal Talk this fall. I believe it was fall, or it might have been winter, but let's post that as well so people can get all of those tips. He is an email guru. He spoke at the Mediavine conference in Chicago. We'll have that session up on our YouTube channel as soon as that is edited. So, and we'll have Hilary's session as well. So you're going to get all those excellent points when we have them ready for you. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's talk pricing. What do you consider when setting your prices? Do you ever do bundling or sales? And I know you both have mentioned, or Hilary mentioned that the amount of time it takes, so the amount of effort you're exerting, the amount of time it takes factors into your pricing. What other things factor into your pricing, Hilary?
I don't know. Pricing is so hard. It's my hardest thing. I'm not selling to entrepreneurs. People aren't going to make money off of my course. And so I had to throw away everything I knew from people who created courses for like people who want to make courses, which is mostly who you learn from. And so I just my prenatal class started very low and I've just sort of inched it up. And then I've started the mom courses pretty low and then just kind of kept them where I felt comfortable with people getting enough value and that type of thing. So I don't know, but if you're confused on course pricing, I'm right there with you. Like I just consider like going in the corner and sucking my thumb. It's hard.
Pricing is hard. Pricing is hard for everybody. How about you, Jessie?
I think it's really helpful to look at what other courses are out there and see kind of how they're pricing and then think about how you could offer something a little bit different or even better. So I think about the transformation, like I've said a few times. I also think about the assets, like even offering, workbooks and resources that can help people. Sure, that can help you price higher. If you're offering live office hours every month, I think that's really valuable. If you can offer one-on-one sessions with people or you're going to review their work personally, I think that can push it even higher. So think
Sure.
about what you have the time to offer and how that could, really, really help people get to that transformation quicker.
I love that.
Oh, I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say, my courses are sort of, all different prices. And I do think about those things like Travel Block Prosperity. It's like $49 a month, but you get so much. Like, I feel like that's a great price. And I know people that would, pay more for it just because of all the stuff you get in it. So I want it to be a good value.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important too. You want people to feel like, wow, this should have cost more. Not like, oh, this probably should have been a little bit cheaper. But you also don't want to undersell yourself. So you have to find that sweet spot.
And I do find that it's easier to raise a price than it is to lower a price.
Yeah, for
sure. But you can
offer the people in there already.
So, there are ways to like see. And also because my prenatal class is at 3 different price points, I know which one sells the best. And so I know that's probably the price range people are hoping to pay. So
yeah. And I think having a like a refund period is helpful too, because if you're getting everyone asking you for a refund, that's probably a good idea that either the course isn't good, it's priced too high, they didn't get what they thought they would. So having that risk-free period is A, going to help you increase your sales, and B, it's going to give you a lot of feedback too.
So in terms of range, Hilary, you said you had a 40 and you had a 100. Is that your full range on pricing? And you said you had 3 different prices for your maternity course. I'd like to hear some of the range, just throw numbers out there.
So the prenatal class is 40 for the book, which is just a straight up book. You don't interact with me again. It's 100 or 99 for the prenatal class, where you can ask me questions in the comments. And then it's 150 for the deluxe class that comes with an email thing where we go through it every day, and then also a Facebook group where they can interact with me and ask lots of different kinds of questions.
Okay, Jessie, same question to you.
I'm actually pulling up one to try to remember the price, but it's $149. I'm trying to see what the super bundle I offer. You were asking about bundles. This one's a bundled thing. I think it's $499.
Okay.
But about $149 to $499, and then the membership's $49 a month.
Okay. And in terms of positioning yourself as the leader, as the person to be the one to teach this course, how do you do that? Is that in a bio? Is that in your introduction? Tell me the best way to do that.
You want to go, Jessie? Okay.
Sure. I just try to be as visible as possible. I create tutorial videos all the time. I host webinars all the time. I speak at conferences all the time. Yeah. So I think just being able to be as visible as possible and get in front of your audience. Like even, I have a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm not getting asked to speak at the conferences. Well, start in Facebook groups. Go into Facebook groups where your audience is hanging out and answer everyone's questions all the time. That's something I still try to do.
Love that.
Yeah. And just wherever people are wanting to get help, try to be there and be really helpful.
That's great. Hilary, anything to add to that?
So for me, I push in my prenatal class, I push like all my expertise and all the years that I've been a labor and delivery nurse. And then I just have tons of content on my blog that people can read and realize that I really do know what I'm talking about. So that really helps, I think, as well.
Absolutely. And the fact and all of your experience and all those things. I was just wondering if there is a specific place that you share that knowledge in when you actually have someone getting ready to push buy on your site, or you're trying to push them to push buy. Where is it? Is it in your bio? Is it in the description for your course? Where do you share that information?
I don't know that people are buying courses because of me.
Okay.
Because I read the story branding thing from Donald Miller, and that's what I based my sales page off of. Okay. And he says you're just the guide, and you're wanting to show them what they're going to get as the end result. And I think in my case, they definitely want to see that I'm experienced, but I don't think that they think 18 years is any better than 5 at this point. So I don't know. Yeah.
Is that what Donald Miller thing are you referring to? Just so we can.
It's called story branding, or the story brand.
Okay.
I just got it on Amazon.
Great. Let's share that, please. And go ahead, Jessie.
So I think for me, most of the people just want to know that, like, I've been a full-time travel blogger since 2012. I took my blog full-time. So it's like, I'm in that position that they're trying to get to. So that's really, it's not like I'm telling people like, oh, I have a master's degree or anything like that. Sure. I just am saying like, I do this. I have strategies that I've implemented in my business to get here. And that's what I'm going to like show you how to do what I did. So I think it's just my experience and like telling people like I'm happy to share my experiences with them.
Transparency, always key. We're big fans. So how do you scale and expand your course offerings? Is it, do you rewrite a new course? I know you guys have talked about updating courses periodically, but in terms of scaling, is it you invest in creating a new course per year? You invest in, you expand your topics. How did that process go for you?
For me, I just wanted to fill in. So my blog writes about pregnancy, parenting, and organization at home. And so I just wanted courses that fall under each of those pillars so that I would have something to sell to people who came to my blog in each of the areas. But I'm done writing courses. I will relaunch the ones that I have, but I'm done. Those are the three.
That's all she wrote. Love it.
My husband goes, I've heard that before.
Well, best intentions. That's good.
But I wanted something to fit all the areas of my blog. So I have all those, and I think it's better to relaunch them and improve them versus because they're already selling versus trying to start the wheel again.
Absolutely. Jessie, same to you.
Yeah, I feel the same. At this point, I have so many, and it's like, even with the master classes I've created, I was like, I'm not going to create any more. But if I see there is a room to create something, I'll create it. I don't have any grand goal of like, I'm going to create another one. It's just growing my community and continuing to get people in there. And for me, the big scaling was really launching my membership 2 years ago, because of course that's recurring revenue. And it's like my baby. Like, that's really the thing I love. It's like, I have live calls with everyone 3 times a month, and I feel like I'm friends with my members and I really get to know people. So it's like something I'm excited about. So for me, scaling really is just like continuing to grow that membership and get more people inside and help more people.
I love all of that. Love that personal touch and so much there. So while we're talking on this subject, and you both have mentioned this, so what are the value adds that you bring onto a course as well? You've talked video, you've talked worksheets, you've talked personal consultations. How do you determine where to put what and when it's time to add those things?
Well, I mean, hopefully you know your students or your avatar well enough to kind of know what they want. I included a workbook with my prenatal class, and I didn't have video for a long time, and then I added video, and definitely the price goes up when you add video. But honestly, I feel like people expect video. The one complaint I get in there is that they wish that I read the entire course on video, which is not what I have right now. I have a lot of it as written, and I do the key points in a video. So next year, my plan is to teach the whole course to a video camera. I just think people expect video at this point. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I think most people expect video. I always put workbooks. I usually put a checklist too, to just be like, you know, you learned all this stuff. Now here's a checklist to make sure you didn't miss anything. I'll often include like Q&A kind of case studies with experts. In terms of like live calls, I only do that in the membership just because that truly is something that takes so much bandwidth. Even just like scheduling the emails and the email reminders to the members to join the call, I feel like takes me an hour. Yeah. So, you know, for me, like with Travel Blog Prosperity, it's like, okay, if I'm making this month, realistically, what can I do in that much time? And I try to offer as much as I can while also being able to eat dinner with my fiance and like enjoy time with my friends and, you know, have a life too, and not just totally be, because I think you can get in that space too. I definitely have kind of like found myself working till midnight before, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to do this for very long. So you have to like honor your own space too while giving back, I think.
Oh, definitely true. Work-life balance is hugely important. So in terms of marketing, how do you sell your courses? And I know that we talked a little bit about email and how you're getting people to sign on for that, but where do you market? Do you use all the resources? Do you have a specific one that works the best in terms of course marketing? Are you marketing to your existing audiences? How do you do that?
You want to go, Jessie?
Sure.
Time for you both.
Email is the biggest, and for me, it's just getting people onto that list. So Facebook ads is huge. I'm always running ads. It's like I have a course on ads. I'm obsessed with them.
Okay, we love that.
Yeah. In content, I know that somebody reading a post on how to brand their blog is going to want that blog branding workbook freebie. So it's very perfect in that way. I find that exit intent pop-ups and smart bars that go on the top work really well. All of my posts have a call to action. Webinars convert really, really well. I wish that I had started doing that sooner. I just started doing those this year, and I was like, wow, definitely something to think about if you're not. They can definitely be scary at first, but they work, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, it's just really getting my opt-ins in front of as many people as possible. I do Instagram stories about them. All my Facebook bios, I don't link to my homepage, or all my social media bios. I don't link to my homepage. I'm linking to my page of freebies. On my website, before you even scroll, you have 2 places that you can grab freebies. So it's really like one of the bigger things I focus on.
That's excellent. And then when you were saying about webinars, are these ones you're putting on yourself, or are you guesting on other people's forum? How are you doing that?
Yeah, myself. Usually if I have a big launch coming up, I'll try to do a webinar or a few webinars right before then, just to show people my teaching style, get them excited. And there is really something to be said about people being able to meet you. Like, one of the biggest, I guess, things people say to me during the webinar is, oh my gosh, you're really live. So a lot of people do the automated webinars, and sure, I think those are still really valuable. But I'm saying it's a live webinar, it's a real live webinar. I'm truly there. So I think that's really valuable if you can do that as well.
That's great. Love that. Okay, Hilary, same question to you, marketing.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I have not had any luck with ads. I've hired businesses to run them. They just don't convert because pregnancy is such a short period in people's lives, and some people are, trying to get pregnant. It's hard for Facebook to really target people who are actually pregnant. And so I haven't had luck with ads. I have had good luck with SEO, like making sure that you rank in articles that would, like I rank for epidural stuff and things that happen in the hospital. So then people, I know those people are going to deliver in the hospital. And affiliates. And I have a Facebook group that does pretty well for pregnancy. And then email. Yeah, I have a huge email monster that lives in ConvertKit. So definitely.
And both of you, I know, are pretty experienced speakers at different conferences. Is that something that you found to be a great converter for you?
I have never spoken on something I sell a course on. I speak to patients, but I never sell like pregnancy. I sell a book on how to make a course, but I made it because I spoke on it. And it's the kindergarten guide, basically. It's not huge. But I haven't ever been to like a pregnancy conference or anything like that. So I would be open to it, but okay. I still have smallish kids, and yeah, I do speak on blogging, but no pregnancy yet.
Okay. What about you, Jessie?
Yeah, for me, I do speak on the similar topics as my courses. So I'll usually, in the presentation, I'll create some kind of workbook to go along with the presentation, and I'll use it as an opt-in. But even beyond that, I find that making the connections, like I'll have people join a course and they'll say, oh, it was great meeting you. Or even like there's a woman who's been in my membership for a while, and I met her on a bus on the way to a conference I was speaking at, and we started talking. I told her I had a course. Like all these random interactions, like getting to just really meet people and form genuine relationships, I think is really, really helpful.
Absolutely agree on that. I think that so much of the conference is just not just learning, but speaking at a conference is such a great value. And I encourage people to speak as much as they possibly can if they're wanting to position themselves as experts in the field, and they're wanting to basically, spread their influence, meet people. It's kind of turbocharging your networking that you have available at a conference. So if you can speak, do speak. I can't encourage it enough. Okay, so let's talk about how you are marketing yourself in your blog posts, and are those audiences the same? Because again, with the wide variance of topics that you're having courses on, you're not necessarily blogging about all those things all the time. So are the audiences the same? I know you have your membership site, but are you writing blog posts to support your courses and promoting on social media?
Yeah,
yes,
so
go Jessie.
For me, it is like, sometimes I wonder if like I should have created a separate site for just blogging topics, but I already have 3 websites. I can't do that. So it all goes together. It's like you want to live this location independent lifestyle, travel, and travel blogging, I think, do go together. It's not 100% under the same umbrella. So I kind of have a content plan where it's like blogging article. I also sell NYC tours. So it's like blogging NYC solo female, blogging NYC solo female. And they do like tie together at times. But I do make sure that there are blog posts, like we were talking about. Hilary mentioned SEO. I make sure they're SEO optimized. I'll often create tutorial videos that I can embed in the post so people can see who I am and get to know me a little bit better. So yeah, I do make it a huge part of my content strategy.
Hilary, same to you.
And same for me. Every post I write should be targeting back to one of those, or like the vast majority. Clearly sponsored posts don't, which is why I don't write a ton of them. And then, I've made my sponsored posts rate go up because I'm like, you know what, if I'm writing this, then I'm not selling my own stuff. And so when people say your rate's too high, I'm like, I don't care.
That's totally fine with me because if your main revenue stream is the courses, then you're going to wanting to be marketing those. How often are you creating posts, both of you, for your websites?
I do twice a week.
Twice a week? Oh. Jessie?
Like once a month.
Okay. That's totally
I used to do more, but honestly, it's like I do a ton of videos once or twice a month. I don't have honestly a hard posting schedule. A lot of my time is devoted to email and courses and social. And then, when I'm like, okay, this week I can do it. Or I have like a great idea for a post and I just like want to get it out there. Or I have an idea for a video, which will do great on social. And then I can put that with a post. So that's sort of like, how I do it.
Hey, everybody has their own style and what works for them. And I love that you both have different styles that work for you. And we're getting to hear about different topics and different ways of working. And I think that's incredible. So, okay, we are running a little bit low on time. So the last thing I'm going to ask you is about the freebies and the teasers, and talk to us about how you create those. And is that how do you determine what's going to be the hook to get people involved, what freebie it's going to be, and how much do you give away without giving away too much? You talked about the first chapter, things like that. And then what I also, so let's talk about that. We'll just do that quickly.
Go, Jessie.
Do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. So it's the first chapter of the prenatal class, mostly because I want them to be able to get to know me and know my style. And that gives them, a way of doing that. And then I used to run email series for my other two, but I actually turned them into small short courses on Teachable so that they could get familiar with the platform and they would also be signed in. So if they ever decided to buy, they already have an account. It's easy to just buy and purchase. And I can also email them from Teachable as well as myself. So, and also in those, they're challenges, but I have one every day. I don't drip them. So if they want to do the whole challenge in one day, that's fine. I haven't found that drip really worked for my people because they're probably, most engaged when they first get in there. But I do email them every day of the challenge saying, hey, today we're going to work on, whatever, getting our kids to eat or whatever. And so that's how I did mine. I can't really think of a pregnancy challenge, just like keeping a human alive is enough for them. So it just made most sense to like,
you're pregnant, you did it, you won the challenge. Good job.
You're already doing the challenge.
Okay. And Jessie, for you.
It really just like the questions people are asking, like I always, cause I have a lot of stuff on working with brands and it's something I do, frequently. Like everyone's like, well, what do you say in your pitch? What do you say in your pitch? I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a plug and play pitch template. That just makes so much sense. So yeah, a lot of times it is just thinking about the big problems that people seem to have and like, what can I create that will help them? And then I also have a resource library, which I think is really helpful because I can create all kinds of worksheets and stuff to pair with blog posts, put them in the same resource library. And I don't have to create a whole new landing page and a whole new automation series. It's just all one thing. And I can just promote that one worksheet in that blog post. And then, I do have a free e-course. So I have more of like a challenge. I've tested things that haven't worked. I once did a 12-day challenge and like, for 6 days, everyone's into it. And then by day 12, I'm like, oh man, this was such a bad idea. I spent so much time on this. And like, so I found that the shorter challenges definitely did better. The webinars where everyone's like sitting there at that time. So I've had some that didn't really work as well as I thought they would. And
okay. It happens.
Some that work really well. A lot of times the ones that work really well are the ones that are like the easiest to create, I find, which is funny.
That's nice. I mean, I wouldn't argue with that. I'd take that all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I think it's just what can help people like quickly and like get them there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple of announcements, but I'm going to have you guys tell us as your last question before we let you go, where people can find you, what types of courses you think that is your top course or your top courses, where people can learn from you and learn about course creation from you, and any resources that you want to share. So I'm going to have that be the last thing I get from you guys. And before that, guys, we are concluding our month of Beyond Blogging. It's been so fun and great to have you guys with us. We've talked all about turning your passion into compassion with Julie Diley and Betsy Eves, where we talked about creating nonprofits or how you can use your blog skills and your social media skills to help give back to your community. We talked about book publishing with Jen Ruiz and Valerie Stimick, Space Tourism Guide, and Jen Ruiz, writer, and we had a great time talking about both of those things with them. Then last week we did product sales with Chloe McIntosh and Aaron Chase, and they were both great resources. And then this week we talked all about course creation with Jessica Festa and Hilary Erickson, and we've had a lot of great insights from everyone, and we'll have all those are still on our Facebook page. So if you've missed them for any reason, we're not ever taking those links down. So all you have to do is just look at our videos tab and you'll have all of them there. And then once they're edited, they go on the Mediavine YouTube channel. So subscribe there so you don't miss any videos. And soon all of our course sessions from Chicago, from our conference last month in Chicago, will be going live there. So make sure you're tuned in and subscribe to the Mediavine YouTube channel. Next month is Making It Rain. We are focused on all money ways you can focus on monetization, optimize, so many exciting things we have there. And we're starting next week with video. It is going to be an exciting live. We've got Meredith Marsh from VidPro Mom and Kristen McDonald from Studio Knits. And we've got all their tips on video and how to monetize and make the best. Uh-oh, did we lose Hilary?
I don't see her. I was wondering if that was like a...
That's crazy. Sorry, Hilary. We lost you. What happened?
I don't, in my computer. Right?
Okay, well, we're glad you're back. So, okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Will you please go ahead and share? We'll start with Hilary about your resources, where we can find you.
So I'm at pullingcurls.com, soon to be the Pulling Pearls podcast also. I'm Pulling Curls, _curls on Instagram, but everywhere else Pulling Curls. And I'm also the pregnancy nurse. I'm, why not have all the handles?
Why not?
But I'm always accepting affiliates to my program. My courses fit lots of different types of varieties of Mediavine writers. So if you're interested in being an affiliate, you can just Google Pulling Curls affiliate or Hilary Erickson affiliate, and you should be able to sign up there. Affiliates are a huge part of my thing. And I actually spoke on affiliate marketing in Chicago because I affiliate for lots of different other companies besides my own. So I give you tips and tricks on affiliate marketing by being my affiliate.
That is fantastic. And just to add for Hilary, we've got her courses available. If you use the code PC10, you'll get 10% off any of her books and courses. And then she has the ebook on creating courses, which if you use the code Mediavine, all caps, you'll get 20% off this ebook. And I think, how much was the total?
It's only $20. Like it is just your basic, like how to start it. Yeah.
How to get past that initial, I should create a course, and then getting down to business. Okay. Yep. Jessie, where can we find you?
So I'm at Jessie on a Journey, JESSIE on blog, Facebook, Instagram, Jess on a Journey on Twitter. The easiest way to connect with me is just jessieonajourney.com/get-started. And that's where you'll find all my freebies on profitable blogging, working with brands, Facebook ads, affiliate marketing, all that kind of stuff, which is also the topics of my courses. And if you're interested in seeing any courses, they're on my website too, but you can just get on my email list and then you'll learn all about everything.
Awesome. Get on that email list. We just posted all of those links in the comments for the Facebook. So if you need anything, all that information is there. So don't worry. You don't have to be trying to write it all down frantically. Who would want to write anything with their hands? How ridiculous. So ridiculous. Ladies, thank you so much for being here with us. You guys have been great experts. We appreciate it. And get out and touch those ladies. Get in touch with them on those links. That was a very strange. Don't touch them.
I'll be touching them on Thursday when I work.
Yeah, but probably not any of you that are watching, or maybe you are. Maybe Hilary is going to physically touch you on Thursday, but I don't really know. That was a great way to end. I'm glad I did that, so you all can have that in your minds just moving forward with your day. Have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you. Or have a wonderful Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I'm going to stop. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Whatever day it is. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank